Hey everybody. I'm not childish, but I also haven't been around for a while because I haven't felt like it. I haven't felt like talking. I'm not really feeling it right now, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to force myself. That has nothing to do with the topic, I guess. Well, maybe in a way I could turn it around or turn it into one. I chose not to pick a battle with myself. I chose to just lay around and be depressed instead of pushing myself and taking on the battle of getting myself back together. So I chose not to take and pick up the fight. But let's talk about picking your battles. I guess you know what I mean by that. Maybe that's a term that I haven't actually heard it that many times. But it's deciding when you're going to fight and when you're just going to let it go. And usually the idea is when you let it go, it's not worth the effort. The thing is at times we lose sight of what is worth it. And in a lot of cases, we look too short term as to whether it's worth fighting for or not. I think of, we'll say, debating where you're going to eat in the evening. Maybe you're going out to dinner and you got it in your head you want one thing and your wife wants another. You want steak and she wants sushi. Some cases that battle's not worth it, you know. Yet there are other times when maybe it is. Maybe your wife has already gotten her way enough times. And if you don't stand up for yourself, you won't get anything your way. So you have to consider these things when you're choosing your battle. When you're trying to decide whether it's worth the fight or not. If you're at work and you have an idea you think would really be good for the company, but you're not getting a lot of support for it, well, you may want to let it go. It depends on how much of your energy you're willing to give up, because it doesn't necessarily mean just because you choose to fight for your idea doesn't mean you're going to win. You may still end up, failing to convince them that this is the right thing to do or the best way to go. So that means you put a whole bunch of effort in it and it gets you nowhere. I've done that, and you're exhausted afterwards. And plus, in a lot of cases, you're still sure you were right. So, you get nothing out of it. You also may find out you create enemies along the way. And those enemies then don't forget. And the next time you have an idea or you want to do something, you get even more resistance. Now, unfortunately, that's true even if the idea is good. people won't accept the new idea just because it came from you. That's it. That's the only reason. They'll come up with a bunch of excuses, but they either know that they're lying, or they're unaware of how their subconscious works, and they would rather see a good idea go down the tubes than to allow someone like you to get the credit for it. And that's unfortunately very, very true. There again, I experienced that. I had in this case, I actually did succeed. However, it was because I also had some higher ups that supported my idea. But I went to the test department to get this coupling that I designed tested, and it had shown that everything about it was great as far as for what it was designed for. And the guy in charge of it was an engineer who his idea in his mind got shot down. And he looked at me when I'm asking for the information that I need, and he says, well, let me get this straight. You're going to get the glory, and I'm going to do the grunt work. He had no interest in doing it. It didn't even require him personally doing anything, except telling the guys in the test lab to put the data together. But he acted like it was some great deal. That's how immature people are. They'd rather see the world destroyed than to, allow someone else to get some credit. And I know I said world. And mine was not going to save the world. My coupling was not going to save the world. However, we are that immature that if there's two paths that we can take, one of them we know will save the world, but someone else gets credit. The other one keeps that person from getting credit, but the world is going to get destroyed. We'll go let the world get destroyed. In the Bible, one king did something wrong and was told that his kingdom was going to get punished for it. And it's just a very small statement in there, but it said that he realized that the punishment wouldn't happen till after he was dead, so he was okay with it. That's how bad we are. We do that all the time. Well, now let's bring up an issue where not fighting every time is destroying our world and is coming back to bite us. And in this case, bite other people, but still it's biting. It affects everybody in the end. The first one I'm going to talk about is raising our children. Because we choose to give in to them rather than do the right thing, punishment, say no to when they want more, creating limits on how much they can do of certain things, like being on the phone, like texting or Instagram or Facebook. If your child has got an addiction to it, you need to get them away from it. There's still nothing wrong with going outside and playing and doing more imaginative type things, being more creative. You can't be very creative on a smartphone. And you need to make that connection with your children. And even discipline sends a message that you care for them, where just buying them things and letting them do whatever they want sends a message that you don't care. It really does. You gotta love your children. So you need to fight every time. And I don't mean in a way that makes it confrontational. But let's say they ask for something and you're going to give it to them. Just make sure they understand the reasons and why you believe in them, and trust that whatever you're doing for them is going to be a good thing, not a bad thing. Show them you respect them. Take the time to not just give them what they've asked for, but to tell them why you want to give it to them. Now let's talk about adults. This is going on because of this. What I'm thinking about has to do with our celebrities and what they apparently have established as acceptable is not acceptable. By not choosing to fight a battle, they create a bigger battle. And then it gets to the point that it's so big that it takes on its own life. And I'm talking about all the sexual abuse that goes on, not just in Hollywood, but anywhere there's a thought of power. Sexual abuse is, overwhelmingly accepted. Even to the point that a father can sexually abuse, I can't think of another term, but sexually abuse their own child, and the mother allows it because she looks at the alternative and chooses not to fight that battle. That battle has to be fought no matter what. There are no exceptions to the rules. There's no tomorrow will be better. Well, I can't, as a female, I can't say, well, yeah, I'll let him play with my breasts if that gets me the job in this movie, gets me the role in this movie. No. That should have never been allowed from the very beginning. That's moral decay. And it began when one person wants something more than standing up for their own morals. not thinking down the road how this is going to affect them. And if it's a child that's if it's a young adult, let's not get into the children yet. If it's a young adult allowing this, I blame that partially on the parents not giving them good moral values. And somewhere along the way, they believed that they had to give in if they wanted to succeed. That can't be accepted. Period. And then, once that happens, we then have, pedophiles. And it just grows, We allow pornography, but not with children. Adults have enough, we consider adults to have enough intelligence to think for themselves. I am now going to say, but the Bible doesn't say that. The Bible says that, no, that's wrong too. And that's letting go of our moral values. I'm not saying that I can tell someone else how to live their life. No. They have to make that decision. But by choosing not to stand their ground, they're saying that doing something wrong now, in other words, sinning now, later on I can make up for. Well, it might make up, you might survive your life that way, but there's others coming after you that have to give up more and more of their moral ground to be able to accomplish the same thing you did, which leads our whole world into decay. We got to stand our ground when it comes to our moral values. There is no gray area for that. We can't tell other people what they have to do, but we do have to tell ourselves. It's written on our hearts, and if you wanted to know, it is written in the Bible what our moral values should be. Doesn't say God won't forgive us if we fail. But we got to be honest with ourselves and say, this is what we should be doing. And I mean, I have failed in many areas, and I guess I'm paying the price for it in some ways, and in others I'm, setting a bad example, or in others you can't take back what you've done. You can only apologize and move forward. So remember, when you're picking your battle, make sure it's one that if you're going to let it go, if you're not going to go and fight, make sure it's for the right reason. I hope your immaturity level has improved. Thanks for watching.